For clarification, I am beyond angry with both of them. I know they both had good intentions, but my thought process is currently, how damn dare you? And I need to know if I'm being unreasonable or if I am justified before I approach a conversation about it. For context, my husband is a very nonsensical, very hardworking provider-type man. He is stubborn and will not do anything he doesn't want to, so it's not like he was trying to please his mom. His mom is very blunt and in-your-face honest. Neither of them are manipulative or conniving in any way, and they're very good people. I have an amazing relationship with both of his parents. This is so out of character for them. I know they have good intentions, they just did this all kind of backwards. As for myself, I am anxious and easily stressed. I've lived a hard life and have had a lot of choices taken from me in childhood, and now need to be included in decisions, and I need to feel like it's equal in order for me to be okay. With that being said, I am also very honest and blunt and in your face. I am not submissive by any means, and I do not shy from confrontation. I am currently not in a stable work environment. Job loss seems to be just around the corner. If you stay up to date with news, then you'll know what I mean, but I have to be careful of what I say in regard to it. With that being said, our lease on our rental is coming up soon, and we were wanting to buy a house, but it just seems to not be the time. We were looking at other rentals. Well, his parents bought a rental house and asked if we wanted to rent it. His mom messaged me about it first, and I said I didn't think it was a good idea. Later that day, I'm assuming, but have no confirmation on the timeline of this, she called my husband and they both agreed that we would. He messaged me prior to agreeing with her, and I again expressed I didn't think it would be a good idea due to current circumstances. I didn't outright say no. I did leave it up for debate, but I said I didn't think it was good. Well, after they both asked me, they both went around me and agreed we would. My husband didn't tell me this happened until a couple days later and dropped it casually to me and said, "I know you said no, but that was silly." I am fuming, raging, and shaking. I want to revert back to lashing out, but know that I cannot. It has been 2 weeks, and I have yet to get to a point where I can communicate healthily, but it needs to be addressed, so I am going to try my very best tonight. Am I overreacting? I feel like I was told, "You silly little girl. Let the adults make the decisions. Just sit down and be a submissive wife." Obviously, that's not what was said, nor what he meant. And I know they had good intentions, but I am so angry, I am finding it hard to focus on that. Am I overreacting for thinking it's absolutely insane to bypass me, leave me out of the conversation, and take my choice away entirely? In addition, how can I approach this in a way to which I won't destroy my relationship? Because at this point, I'm feeling vindictive and petty, and I don't want to hurt his feelings, but also not entirely sure if I can bite my tongue once I let the dam loose. Relevant comments, a commenter. Sounds like a conversation must be had. You are a partnership, and with that, decisions should be agreed upon, or at the very least discussed. Is renting your mother-in-law's place cheaper? Original poster responded. It's more expensive, which was a lot of my concern. A commenter, with potentially losing your job soon, I wouldn't be happy with his decision to rent something more expensive. I think ultimately you should speak with him and really see where his head was at. But also, he needs to understand that you need to be included in life decisions. Original poster responded, that is the biggest thing for me. I may lose my job soon, and taking an increase in rent, regardless of with his parents or not, is not a good decision. I have been independent since I was 15. It cannot be expected by anyone that if I lose my job, they'll help float us. I've already been looking to get out prior to losing my job, but the job market isn't great, and I make good money, so most jobs in my area would be a huge pay cut. It's better than nothing, but would come with lifestyle changes for sure. I know they both had good intentions of it's better to be renting from them rather than a major corporation since they're family, but also I needed to be privy to that conversation. I didn't outright say no. I said it wasn't a good idea and left it up for discussion, but they decided to have the discussion and make the decision without me. Feeling very much like a child, lol. Original poster in response to a deleted user. It's not the renting from them that's the major life decision. The issue lies with that fact that it's a move, and rent would be more expensive with them. I'm in a marriage that requires equal financial decision-making when equal money is put in. A commenter, especially as it's more expensive. Renting from family is a bad idea to begin with. I would also be very upset if they went behind my back with this decision. I could maybe handle it, a big maybe, if the rent would be cheaper. I do think it warrants a discussion between you and hubby, but maybe walk away if things get too heated. I don't know why your hubby thought increasing your housing costs would be a good idea with your job worries and the economy in general right now. Original poster responded, yeah, it definitely isn't ideal, but I have seen how good landlords are for their other rental properties. I'm saddened that with my potential job loss, we can't buy a house, but timing is everything, and it'll happen when it's supposed to. I'm not too keen on mixing family and housing, but honestly, my concern isn't even that. It's the finances. I definitely agree a discussion with him needs to be had, but my shyness to that is not knowing if I can keep it together enough for it to be healthy communication. Luckily, I do know when to walk away, so I'm definitely going to have to bank on that. Heading to my parents later to shoot my gun and hopefully burn off some anger beforehand. Wish me luck. A commenter. A home should always be agreed upon. You can still tell him you don't want to, and ask him to look at other options with you, as where it may seem silly to him, it is not to you. He might not realize your standpoint. Just be an adult and sit him down and be like, hey, I get you think it's a good idea, but I do not, and lay out why you think that. I do feel like you taking this and feeling vindictive and petty is a little wild, but to each their own. I feel like your intro already says that he doesn't treat you like you should be submissive and knows your personality, unless there is something else. Original poster responded, he does not. He is an amazing partner outside of this, and I know for a fact he made this decision to take the stress off, but it inadvertently added more and made things harder for me. I have an amazing marriage. This is a first major issue, and we have been together for many years. He knows me very well, which is why I know he was trying to help. Haha. I have a tendency to take things too far sometimes. The pettiness is ridiculous at times. He's never been on the receiving end of it, and I am trying to avoid him ever being on the receiving end. When I get hurt, my initial thought is to lash back. I'm self-aware enough to know this, and that's why I wanted second opinions on whether I was justified and what was too much. Thank you for your input. A commenter. I don't think you are overreacting per se, because it's crazy to settle on a location to live without your agreement. However, your wording here sounds very, very aggressive. I'm assuming you are in therapy because it feels like you had a very difficult childhood and lots of trauma. I don't know if you have children, but if you don't, it seems like perhaps you should draw a line in the sand here. Given the intensity of your comment, it just sounds like there is a lot going on, not just with your housing, but also with you and your relationship. I wish you luck. Original poster responded, it most definitely is aggressive. There are children involved. I am indeed in therapy. I had a hard childhood and hard early adulthood. I've been in therapy for years and am medicated. I definitely revert to unhealthy actions and responses, which I try incredibly hard to limit within my marriage. We don't have other issues other than this that would cause anything on my end. It is this sole issue, which is why I have waited so long to have a conversation, because I don't want to taint my relationship with my trauma. It's not his fault that I have these things in my mind, and the triggers, it's not even my fault. It is, however, my responsibility to heal that and move forward and be healthy. Can you pinpoint what specifically I need to tone down before addressing this with him? A commenter, I think you should focus on the financial aspects and really talk that through. Will his parents lower the rent in the event things go sideways professionally? Will you have enough space in the event that they overstep on visits, etc.? Is there potential that this is a rent-to-own situation long-term? It's possible he sees this as a safe landing spot, given the possibility for professional issues. Just based on this post, it is difficult to suss out how much of this is you wanting control and feeling like living without your in-laws subverts. Original poster responded, I do agree that I need to focus on the financial aspect. That is a lot of my concern. I wouldn't say it's more so the control and it being connected to the in-laws. They are genuinely amazing, and I have had such a great relationship. I text back and forth with my mother-in-law daily. I don't have much concern with them being the landlord. Although I have always been on the side of renting from family isn't the best thing. I am open to it if we can have an action plan for if things go sideways with my job. That's my biggest concern. Second biggest would be the fact that it's totally disrespectful to completely excluded me from a conversation and decision about my life and my finances. I'm a wife, not a child. This decision should have included me. The lack of control over my own life currently is definitely related to childhood trauma, and I think that is where a lot of my hurt and anger is coming from. Because my husband is my safe space, he has been an amazing partner through my healing journey, and I feel like this was a slap to the face. Obviously, I know that wasn't his intention, but the hurt and anger is still there regardless of intent. I did a lot of thinking and reflecting yesterday. I think I'm ready to talk to him now. I tried yesterday and got too escalated before I could even get to genuinely talk to him about it. I separated myself, reflected, and figured out what is what and why I am feeling this way. I got to a good point emotionally. Now it's a matter of wording it in a way that makes sense to someone not in my brain. LOL. I really appreciate your input. Thank you. Update. Okay, so, thank you all for the words of advance and the validation. I sat with my anger and hurt, and I had a therapy appointment that helped me immensely. I was able to get to a point of understanding and started problem solving. I was very distanced and reserved the last 2 days, trying my best to separate the hurt from anger and find the root of what triggered that within me. I was able to, which allowed me to get to a point where I can problem solve. I came up with a solution for all of my hesitations, and then I told him I would like to talk. I shared how it made me feel, being excluded. I told him why I reacted the way I did, and why I had to distance myself for a couple of days while I figured my stuff out. I told him I never want to get to a point where I let my trauma hurt him. Was very apologetic. Explained that I never said no, just that I didn't think it was a good idea, and that I would have appreciated it if he had come to me with his thoughts so we could figure it out together. He apologized again and expressed that he sees how it was wrong of him. Explained in the moment he didn't see it as excluding me, but that he was trying to help. I validated that and let him know that I appreciated him trying to help, and that I am thankful for that, but that I need to be included in these decisions. I talked to mother-in-law, and apparently she threw the idea to him to get his thoughts, just like me, and she wasn't aware a decision had been made. She thought we were talking about it, and we would look at the house and let her know. He must have told me, yes, we're moving, and told her he would figure it out and let her know. She said she would help me with getting the kids to school, 30 minutes away, for the last month of school, so they don't have to switch schools so close to the end of the year. Which was a major concern for me. I feel reassured there, and very happy to know my assumptions of her not doing things to go around me were correct. I raised concerns of my potential job loss. To which he says, you can work part-time for a while to do your schooling and focus on getting the kids to and from, and it'll be fine. When you're ready, we can talk about you going back to work. But I see this as God giving us an opportunity to let you follow your dreams. And I want that for you. I want you to be free enough to do your schooling. My goal isn't for you to contribute equally. I will take care of us. You do what you want to, not what you think I want you to. We will be fine if that happens. I cried, lol. Overall, everything is okay and the world is not ending, and I was able to self-soothe and regulate by myself, which may not seem like much for a lot of people, but when I started my healing journey, I was told that I had no emotional intelligence or capacity to regulate. I have come so far, and being able to express myself in a healthy way was amazing. He commended that, said he sees how hard I'm working to heal my past, and that he is so happy for me. My husband is my biggest supporter, always. He is an amazing partner to me, and I appreciate those of you who called me out on the pettiness. I feel validated by my person, my you all, and I feel better after talking. Looks like it's time to start packing. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for everything. More relevant comments. Original poster responded if they excluded her on purpose. No, it's okay. That was more so for an explanation of why it was a wall of text. It's a bad habit I have. I'm not upset at all. The only reason I am so sure that they didn't exclude me on purpose is because I talked to her and she said, "You guys will have to come over and look at the house and let us know if you want to rent it or not." While we were talking about the house and the interior and whatnot. To which I replied, he had said we were moving, explained what happened, and she said, "Oh, okay then." She was completely unaware of his decision, and she's not a liar or a manipulator. She is a very honest and blunt woman. So then later that night, I talked to him, and that's when I got his side, and he hadn't talked to her at all yesterday. So although I will never know 100%, the odds that it was intentional are very slim, and that's good enough for me. I have a bad habit of defaulting to negative assumptions and borderline paranoia that things are done for hidden meanings, when 9 out of 10, I'm just looking too hard into it and creating false realities in my head and working myself up for nothing. Somebody said, "I am a therapist and I see the work you did. Amazing job." I'm also glad to hear your husband and mother-in-law sound like good people. Original poster responded, "Thank you so much. It was super uncomfortable and really hard, but oh my God, do I feel amazing and accomplished. This was my biggest step towards progress yet, excluding actually taking the step for getting help through therapy. They are both good people. Their whole family is amazing. I am so blessed to have them and to have my husband as my biggest supporter. He danced with me in the kitchen and jumped up and down with excitement when we were talking about how well I was able to handle the situation. I am overjoyed with your validation as well. Thank you so much." Someone said, "Seems like you were excluded from the decision, and when you pointed that out, you were told, 'Why would you think that? Now, here's all the ways we can make this work for you and why it's the right decision. Pat you on the head and give you a cookie to run along.'" For some reason, I don't think the response to, "I may not have a job and rent" is going to be more, with more commuting. I will work part-time and go back to school. I see financial stress suffocating this marriage if you end up out of a job. Not my life though, so it doesn't matter what wall you crash into. Original poster responded, "Realistically, we can afford it if I were to lose my job. Do I want to lose that income? No. Would a part-time job cover the costs of bills? Yes. He cannot completely support us on his own, and if I didn't have a job altogether, we would be screwed. I can go part-time, and although money would be tight, we could make it work. We have had hard times before, financially speaking. We know how to adjust and move forward. In addition, it wasn't that I was objecting to the idea altogether. I want to move to that area anyways. It's the matter of timing and figuring out solutions. Had this come up a month down the road, when school is coming to a close and I had an answer on my job, I wouldn't have objected nearly as much. In the grand scheme of things, I don't believe I was given a cookie and a pat on the head. He apologized and explained his side of things, which is all I wanted. The complexities and nuances of a relationship as a whole cannot be defined in one singular post. This two-part post wasn't to complain about him, it was to get advice for how I can handle the situation and to know whether I was overreacting. I did write some things in anger, but again, I didn't know the full story at the time. I apologize if I misspoke or gave anyone the impression that my marriage as a whole is me being steamrolled or walked on. That is not the case. This is a first in my marriage, and although the execution was poor and he was in the wrong, it wasn't intentionally malicious, and that can be forgiven and worked through. I do see your side of it and appreciate the input nonetheless. Thank you very much. I hope this all doesn't come across as mean or angry. I was just hoping to clarify.